Some sports moments, they're just bigger than the competition. They find a way to etch themselves into our collective history, become a part of our culture, and achieve this immortality. So in this explainer, we're going to dig into the real ingredients that take a fleeting athletic achievement and turn it into an unforgettable Olympic legend.
Picture this: Montreal, 1976. The scoreboard flashes this number, 1.00. And no, that wasn't a mistake. It was for a performance so utterly flawless, the technology of the day literally couldn't process it. It was the first perfect 10 in the entire history of Olympic gymnastics.
A moment like that, it really makes you wonder. It's obviously not just about winning a gold medal, right? So how does one single performance on the biggest stage in the world manage to echo through generations? What's that secret sauce that turns an incredible win into an actual legend?
Well, the answer really starts with the Olympics themselves. Think about it. It's so much more than just a series of events. It's a crucible. It's this incredibly unique, high-pressure environment where history, politics, and raw human drama all collide in front of the entire world. In fact, you can almost break it down into a simple formula. You need an unbelievable athletic performance, that's the spark. But it's the high-stakes context surrounding it, the political tension, the social backdrop, the deeply personal story that acts as the fuel. That's what turns that initial spark into an eternal flame.
So let's start with those moments that weren't just about athletic skill, but were these incredibly powerful statements of defiance against a bigger, often oppressive idea.
Just look at the absolute contrast here. The 1936 Berlin Games were built from the ground up to be a propaganda machine for Nazi ideology. The whole narrative was supposed to be about showcasing Aryan superiority. And then, Jesse Owens stepped onto the track. His performance wasn't just a win, it was a complete and total dismantling of that entire ideology. 4 gold medals. Every single one was a profound act of defiance that basically exposed the lie of Nazi racial theories for the whole world to see. He instantly became more than an athlete. He became a global symbol of resistance. All right, let's fast forward to 1980. This line from the broadcast, it still gives you chills, right? It captures another one of those defiant moments, but this time it was on a sheet of ice, right in the middle of the Cold War. This was never just a hockey game. It was a classic David versus Goliath story with huge geopolitical stakes. You had the dominant professional Soviet machine, this symbol of their global power, against, well, a scrappy team of American college kids, representing a nation that was feeling pretty uncertain about itself at the time.
And boom, there's that formula in action again. The unbelievable upset victory was the spark, but the Cold War context was the fuel. That win went way beyond the arena, becoming this powerful story of resilience and the ultimate underdog spirit that gave a huge morale boost to the entire country.
But immortality isn't always forged in the fires of defiance. Sometimes a moment becomes legendary just because an athlete achieves a level of perfection so incredible, it completely redefines what we thought was humanly possible.
Which brings us right back to where we started. In Montreal, a 14-year-old gymnast, Nadia Comăneci, did something so unheard of that the system literally broke. She was perfect.
It was the first perfect 10 in Olympic history, and that iconic 1.00 that flashed on the scoreboard, it became this visual shorthand for something monumental. See, Comăneci didn't just win. She created a brand new benchmark for excellence. She inspired a whole generation to chase that same ideal of perfection. And then there's a totally different kind of perfection. The perfection of just pure, undeniable dominance. And nobody embodies that more than Usain Bolt. He didn't just run fast. He created this aura of complete invincibility.
First up, the 100 meters, a world record of 9.58 seconds. It's a number that just doesn't even seem real, a time that fundamentally changed our entire understanding of human speed. And then, as if that wasn't enough, he did it again in the 200 meters. This wasn't just winning. This was him completely rewriting the record books, all while delivering it with a charisma that was just impossible to look away from. So in the end, Bolt's legacy isn't just about the medals or the world records. It's the personality, the showmanship, that famous pose. It was the whole package. He turned track and field into a can't-miss global spectacle and became a brand all his own, basically synonymous with a kind of joyful, almost effortless excellence. Okay, so we've seen what makes these moments so special. But the next big question is, how do they stick around? How does a fleeting event from decades ago become this permanent part of our shared memory? Well, it all comes down to this really fascinating idea called collective memory. The basic idea is that some memories aren't just personal. They're shared. They're built together, as a group, within our families, our communities, our nations. They're the stories that a society collectively agrees are important enough to remember and to keep retelling.
And this happens in a few key ways. First, the media creates the narrative. Think documentaries, news reports, social media clips. Second, there's the act of watching it together. Whether it was live or on a YouTube replay, that creates a shared experience. And finally, and maybe most importantly, we tell these stories to our kids, and we pass the legend down.
This process is really the magic trick. It's what transforms the event itself. So Jesse Owens' victory isn't just about a foot race anymore. It becomes a symbol of the fight against racism. Nadia's 10 isn't just a score. It becomes a symbol for the universal quest for perfection. The performance takes on a whole new life.
All right, let's tie this all together. At the end of the day, why do these specific stories have such lasting power? What makes them endure when thousands and thousands of other gold medals just kind of fade away?
It really boils down to a few powerful, universal themes. As humans, we are just fundamentally wired to love an underdog story. We use these big moments to help define who we are as a nation, what we stand for, and maybe, most importantly, they show us the absolute peak of human potential, and they inspire all of us to believe in the extraordinary.
And all of this leaves us with one last, really important question for our time. In today's world, with a 24/7 news cycle and just an endless fire hose of viral content, has the very nature of an immortal moment changed forever? Can any single event truly cut through all that noise to achieve the same kind of lasting, legendary status?